No, this can't be happening. You can't be that stupid.
A mother's nightmare. A terrifying game that started on social media and ended in real life. Could your daughter be talking to a stranger on social media? What if this person is inside your home? This true story that happened to a family in Chicago reveals every parent's worst fear. The story I'm going to tell you today shows how a mother's instincts saved her daughter's life. But first, how did things get so bad? It was the final days of 2024. The Harper family, living in a luxury villa in Chicago's North Shore area, was preparing to welcome the new year. Margaret Harper was a 42-year-old successful lawyer. She ran the law firm she inherited from her father, together with her brother David. Her husband James was a senior executive in the finance sector. Their 16-year-old daughter Emily was a successful, vibrant young woman studying at a private high school. From the outside, it was a perfect family portrait. But life had dealt Margaret heavy blows in recent years. After losing her mother Eleanor 2 years ago, her father Thomas had also died from a sudden heart attack last year. While Margaret tried to manage both her work and home, she was crushed under the weight of the grieving process. Emily, meanwhile, was experiencing all the difficulties of adolescence. Her relationship with her mother was growing distant, and she preferred to lock herself in her room and spend hours on her phone. Margaret attributed her daughter's behavior to normal adolescence, but a small voice inside whispered that something was wrong. While Margaret was struggling with an important case at the office, a message on her phone would turn her life upside down. Margaret, Emily's school grades are dropping. We're also observing significant changes in her social behavior. Can we arrange a meeting? This message from Emily's guidance counselor, Mrs. Patterson, set off Margaret's internal alarm bells. Emily had always been a successful student. What was happening? When she went home that evening, she tried to talk to Emily. "Sweetheart, we need to talk about school." "Mrs. Patterson." "Mom, please." "Everything's fine. I'm just a little tired," Emily interrupted, not taking her eyes off her phone. Margaret noticed the tension on her daughter's face. There were dark circles under her eyes. Her daughter, who normally took care with her appearance, was now wearing the same sweatsuit for days. "Emily, wouldn't it be better if you talked to me? I want to help you." "Help me?" "Mom, you only care about your work." "When was the last time you really spent time with me?" "Since Grandma and Grandpa died, it's like you've withdrawn from life too." These words pierced Margaret's heart. Was her daughter right? Had she really buried herself in work? Emily ran to her room in tears and slammed the door. Margaret wanted to follow but couldn't. Maybe her daughter needed time to calm down. That night, Margaret couldn't sleep. Thousands of thoughts were spinning in her mind. Was she really a bad mother? Did she know what was going on in Emily's life? The next day, Margaret decided to talk to her brother David. "Margaret, Emily is a teenager. They all act like this. But you should spend more time with her too," said David. "I know, but I have a feeling, David. This isn't just adolescence. Something's wrong, then investigate. But be careful. If she feels you're violating her privacy, she'll shut down completely." When Margaret returned home, she had decided to make an important change in the house. Rosa, their housekeeper who had worked for their family for years, had retired. Instead of hiring a new helper, Margaret thought maybe she could have someone from work part-time. But then a better idea came to mind. Guadalupe, the daughter of Eduardo Ramirez, her father's old friend, had recently come to America. Eduardo had helped Thomas with an important case in Mexico City and had become a close family friend over the years. Guadalupe was well educated, had excellent references, and came from a trustworthy family. Margaret hired Guadalupe as a housekeeper and home assistant. 28-year-old Guadalupe was elegant, quiet, and good at her job. She had studied gastronomy in Mexico and had chosen to work in America to send money to her family. "Thank you so much, Mrs. Harper. This opportunity means a lot to me," said Guadalupe on her first day. "You're welcome, Guadalupe. We're like family here. As Eduardo's daughter, I feel like I already know you." The first week, everything seemed fine. Guadalupe came early, cleaned the house spotlessly, prepared dinner, and left. Margaret now enjoyed the comfort of coming home to an orderly house. But Emily's behavior wasn't improving. On the contrary, she had become even more withdrawn. She didn't even want to come to the dinner table anymore. It was a Saturday afternoon. Margaret was working at home when she heard a strange sound coming from Emily's room. It was laughter, but there was another voice. Was Emily on a video call? Margaret approached her daughter's bedroom door. The door was ajar and Emily was talking on her phone. "No, my mom's not here right now." Yes, I know. Do you think about me too? The excitement and shyness in Emily's voice disturbed Margaret. Emily? Are you okay, sweetheart? Margaret asked, gently pushing the door. Emily jumped so much she almost dropped her phone. Mom, I told you to knock how many times? The door was open. Who were you talking to? No one. A friend. Margaret noticed Emily's effort to hide her phone. Emily, if you have a boyfriend, you don't need to hide it. You can talk to me. I don't have a boyfriend. God, why can't you leave me alone? Emily was in tears. My whole day is terrible. I come home. All I want is to be alone for a bit, and you can't even do that. Margaret backed off. Maybe she really was overreacting. Maybe she needed to give Emily some space. That evening, when James came home, Margaret shared her concerns with him. Maybe she has a boyfriend. It's normal at this age, said James, folding his newspaper. But hiding it isn't normal. James, when I was her age, I talked to my mother about everything. Margaret, your relationship with your mother was different too. Emily might just not be ready yet. She'll open up with time. Margaret wasn't convinced but thought James might be right. Maybe she needed to wait. Guadalupe had been working for 3 weeks. She had won everyone's approval with her quiet and respectful working style, but her careful eyes were noting what she saw in the house. One day, when Margaret came home early, she found Guadalupe standing thoughtfully in the kitchen. Guadalupe, is everything all right? Oh, Mrs. Harper? Yes, everything's fine. I'm sorry, it's none of my business, but what happened? Please tell me. Emily, young Miss Emily, seems very distracted. When she came home from school today, she didn't even speak to me. She usually says hello with a smile. Today it was like she didn't even see me. I know. She's been tense lately. Mrs. Harper, my little sister, was Emily's age once. She started behaving like this too. Then we learned she was talking to someone she met online. I'm saying this as a well-intentioned warning. Margaret's heart started beating rapidly. What happened to your sister? Fortunately, my father noticed in time. But that man had lied to her. He said he was a 17-year-old high school student, but he was actually a 35-year-old married man. These words echoed in Margaret's mind. Was Emily talking to someone like that too? No, it couldn't be. Emily was a smart girl. But wasn't Guadalupe's sister too? That night, Margaret couldn't sleep. She saw a faint light seeping from Emily's room. Why was her daughter still awake at this hour? She slowly got up and approached Emily's door. The voices coming from inside froze her thoughts. I'm so sad I won't be able to see you. But Mom and Dad are here. Yes, I miss you so much. No, I haven't told them yet. They'd be angry, Margaret's breath caught. Who was Emily talking to? And why was she speaking so secretly about this person? She wanted to open the door but held herself back. If she intervened now, Emily might shut down completely, and then she wouldn't learn anything. But there was something she had to do. The next day, she would call a friend who was a technology expert and ask how she could monitor Emily's phone usage. She knew this was a violation of privacy, but her daughter's safety was more important than anything. Margaret lay in bed that night with thousands of thoughts running through her mind. Was she doing the right thing? Wouldn't checking her daughter's phone break her trust? But what if Emily was really in danger? So what do you think Margaret should do? If you were a parent, how would you balance your child's safety with their privacy? And more importantly, was Emily really talking to someone she met online? Who was this person, and what could their intentions be? Was Guadalupe's warning in vain, or were Margaret's worst fears coming true? The next morning, Margaret could barely open her eyes. She had slept maybe 2 hours all night. Thousands of scenarios had been spinning in her head. Who was the person Emily was talking to on the phone? Why was she keeping it so secret? And most importantly, what should Margaret do as a mother? At 7:30, when Emily came out of her room to go to school, Margaret was in the kitchen. She had prepared breakfast for her daughter, but Emily was indifferent as usual. Mom, I'm in a hurry. I'm not having breakfast. Emily, please. Just drink a glass of milk. Otherwise, your stomach will hurt at school. Emily sighed but took the glass. Margaret looked at her daughter's face. The purple rings under her eyes had become more pronounced. Her hair was messy and she no longer took care with her clothes like before. Sweetheart, are you really okay? If you want, we can go to the doctor. Maybe you have a vitamin deficiency. Mom, I'm fine. Why are you being so obsessive? Emily had raised her voice. I'm just thinking of you. You're my daughter, Emily. I love you. Emily's eyes softened for a moment. I know, Mom. I love you too, but please give me some space. Everything will work out. As Margaret sent her daughter off on the school bus, the uneasiness inside her was growing. Guadalupe's words wouldn't leave her mind. A 35-year-old married man. A 17-year-old girl. Lying. Manipulation. When she arrived at the office, the first thing she did was call an old friend. Daniel Brooks was a cybersecurity expert and Margaret's friend from law school. Daniel, I need a favor. I need to monitor Emily's phone usage, but I have to do it without her knowing. Margaret, this is a serious privacy violation. Are you sure? Daniel's voice was concerned. I'm sure. I have a feeling, Daniel. My daughter might be in danger. Okay, but to avoid legal trouble, Emily isn't of age yet and you're her guardian. Is the phone bill in your name? Yes. Then you can call the phone operator and activate the family protection feature. Also, we can control the home Wi-Fi network. We can see which sites she visits, which apps she uses. But Margaret, if there's really serious danger, you need to go to the police. I'm not at that stage yet. I need to find out what's going on first. At noon, Margaret returned home early. Guadalupe was preparing food in the kitchen. She was surprised to see Margaret. Mrs. Harper, is there a problem? No, Guadalupe. I'm just going to work from home today. What time does Emily come back from school? She usually comes around 4:30. Sometimes she's late, but I don't know where she is. Margaret noticed the concern on Guadalupe's face. You've noticed too, haven't you? The change in Emily's behavior. Guadalupe nodded silently. Mrs. Harper, there's something else I need to tell you. Yesterday when Emily came home, she was talking on the phone. I heard her voice as she came through the door. She was speaking Spanish. Margaret's heart started beating rapidly. Spanish? Emily doesn't know Spanish. She's only learning basic level at school. Yes, I was surprised too. Her accent was very bad, but she was trying. It seemed like the person on the other end was speaking Spanish and she was trying to respond that way. I heard a few words. Mi amor, te extraño. These are words used between lovers. My love, I miss you. Margaret knew Spanish well. With her knowledge from her internship in Mexico, she understood what Guadalupe meant. Guadalupe, this is very important. What else did you hear? That's all. When she saw me, she hung up and went to her room. Mrs. Harper, please don't misunderstand, but I think Emily is in a very close relationship with someone. And this person speaks Spanish. Margaret went to the living room and opened her computer. Following Daniel's instructions, she first went to the phone operator's website. She activated the family protection feature. Then she entered the settings of the home Wi-Fi router. Daniel had recommended software to her. With this software, she would be able to see the internet traffic in the house. The installation took half an hour. As Margaret looked at the data reflected on the screen, she began to see Emily's internet usage for the past week. Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. These were normal. But one app caught her attention. Telegram. Margaret had never heard of this app before. She immediately called Daniel. Daniel, there's an app called Telegram. What is it? Telegram is a messaging app, like WhatsApp, but much more secure. It has encrypted messaging, and you can automatically delete messages. Usually people who want privacy use it. So Emily is using this app to secretly talk to someone? Probably. Margaret, you really should talk to the police. This could be a serious situation. I'll wait a little longer. I need to understand what's happening first. When it was 4 o'clock, Margaret started waiting in the living room. The computer was open and she was monitoring the Wi-Fi traffic live. At 4:25, Emily came home. Hi, Mom. What are you doing here? Emily seemed surprised. Hello, sweetheart. I'm working from home today. How was school? It was good. I'm a bit tired. I'm going to my room. Emily, can we talk for a bit? Margaret asked in a soft tone. Mom, not now, please. I have a lot of homework. Just 5 minutes. I want to ask you something. Emily hesitated, but then sat down. What happened? You've been very distracted lately. Your school grades are dropping. You're not eating. You're not sleeping. Is there anything you want to share with me? Mom, I told you I'm just tired. Exam period is approaching. I'm under stress. How's your Spanish class going? Emily's face turned red. Good, why did you ask? Just curious. Maybe you should get private lessons. Is your Spanish improving? Mom, what do you mean? Emily's voice had started to tremble. Nothing, sweetheart. I just asked. Margaret had noticed the panic on her daughter's face. I'm going to my room. Emily quickly stood up and ran up the stairs. Margaret went to the computer. A few minutes later, activity began in the Wi-Fi signals coming from Emily's room. The Telegram app had become active. Emily was messaging someone, but Margaret couldn't see the content of the messages. She could only see the data flow. That evening, no one came down for dinner. James would be late from his meeting. Emily didn't come out of her room. Margaret sat in the kitchen. looking at the meal Guadalupe had made but couldn't eat anything. When it was 9 o'clock, Guadalupe talked to Margaret before going home. "Mrs. Harper, I want to say something, but it's very personal. Tell me, Guadalupe, what happened? Today, while cleaning the rooms, I found something in Emily's trash can." She handed Margaret a small piece of paper. When Margaret opened the paper, there was a name written on it, Raphael, and a heart drawn underneath. There was also a phone number. "This came out of Emily's trash can." "Yes, I think she wrote it then threw it away, but I kept it in case it might be important." Margaret was looking at the paper. Raphael, a Spanish name. The words "mi amor te extraño" that Guadalupe had heard. The telegram app. Everything was starting to come together. "Guadalupe, thank you so much for giving this to me." After Guadalupe left, Margaret called that phone number. The phone didn't answer. She tried a few more times, but the result was the same. Then she searched the number on the internet. No results came up. She called Daniel again. "Daniel, I have a phone number. Can you investigate it?" "Margaret, this is detective work now. I'm a cybersecurity expert. You should go to the police. Please, Daniel. I just need to know who this number belongs to." Daniel sighed. "Okay, send the number. I have a friend who might help." "But Margaret, if this is a serious crime, you could become an accomplice." "I know, but I have to protect my daughter." The next morning, Margaret went to the office, but her mind was on Emily. At 11 o'clock, Daniel called. "Margaret, I found the number, but you won't like it. Tell me." "The number is registered to a prepaid phone. There's no owner identity, but I found the area where the number is used. Chicago South Side, specifically the Pilsen area." "Pilsen? That was the Mexican neighborhood." "Yes, an area predominantly inhabited by Hispanic population." "Margaret, if Emily is meeting this person, she can't be meeting. Emily goes to school, comes home. I'm always home. What does she do on weekends?" Margaret froze. Weekends. Emily said she was meeting friends. But was she really meeting friends? "Margaret, go to the police." "This is out of your hands now. Today is Friday. I'll follow Emily this weekend. If she's going to meet someone, I'll see." "This is dangerous, Margaret. What if the man notices you?" "He won't notice. I'm a mother, Daniel. I'll do anything to protect my daughter." When Margaret hung up the phone, her heart was beating wildly. The plan was simple. On Saturday, when Emily said she would meet her friends, she would follow her. If she was really meeting this Raphael person, Margaret would be there. When she went home that evening, Emily was in the kitchen. Guadalupe had prepared dinner, and Emily was helping her. This was the first time in weeks she had seen Emily in the kitchen. "Mom?" Emily was smiling. "Guadalupe is teaching me how to cook." "Wow, how nice." Margaret had wanted to see that old sparkle on her daughter's face, but now everything looked different. Was this smile fake? Was Emily hiding something? During dinner, Emily was talkative. She talked about school, talked about her friends. Margaret listened carefully. She noted every word, every change in expression. "By the way, Mom, I'm going shopping with my friends tomorrow. We're going to Lincoln Park. I'll be back around 6 in the evening." "Which friends?" "With Sarah and Madison. You know I always hang out with them." Margaret knew Sarah and Madison. They were Emily's classmates. "Okay, sweetheart, have fun. But keep your phone on, okay?" "Okay, Mom." Emily smiled and returned to her meal. As Margaret lay in bed that night, she was thinking about tomorrow's plan. When Emily left the house in the morning, Margaret would follow her. If she was going to Lincoln Park, no problem. But if she was going somewhere else, especially to the South Side, Margaret didn't even want to think about it. Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, Emily got ready. She wore jeans, a white t-shirt, and sneakers. She had tied up her hair and put on light makeup. Margaret noticed her daughter looked more careful than before. "See you, Mom." Emily left through the door. Margaret immediately took her car keys and followed. Emily got on the bus. Margaret followed the bus with her car. Her heart was beating wildly. What if Emily noticed her? What if everything was just a misunderstanding? The bus was heading toward downtown. They were approaching Lincoln Park. Margaret relaxed a bit. Maybe she really was meeting her friends, but the bus passed Lincoln Park's stop. Emily didn't get off. The bus continued south. Margaret's stomach turned. South Side, Pilsen, Raphael. The bus stopped on Ashland Avenue. Emily got off. Margaret parked her car on the roadside and started following Emily from a distance. Emily was walking quickly. She looked back a few times. Margaret hid behind a shop window. Emily was turning onto 18th Street. This was the heart of Pilsen. Colorful murals, Mexican restaurants, small shops. Margaret didn't know this place. Emily stopped in front of a cafe. Casa de Café. She looked inside and smiled. Then she went in. Margaret looked through the cafe window. Emily was sitting at a table, and there was a man across from her. Margaret couldn't see well, but noticed the man looked older. He definitely wasn't a 16-year-old high school student. Margaret went inside. Her heart was beating so fast it felt like it would burst from her chest. She walked toward Emily. She saw Emily laughing and talking with the man. The man touched Emily's hand and Emily smiled. Margaret could now see. The man was in his 30s, dark-skinned, dark-haired, dressed ordinarily. Emily. When Emily turned her head, the smile on her face froze. Her eyes widened and her face went white. Mom? What are you doing here? Emily's voice was trembling. Margaret approached the table and looked at the man. Who are you? And why are you meeting with my 16-year-old daughter? The man stood up. Ma'am, I'm just what? What are you doing to Emily? Margaret's voice was rising. Everyone in the cafe had started looking at them. Mom, please. Emily was in tears. You don't understand. What don't I understand, Emily? Who is this man to you? Margaret was now looking at her daughter. This is Raphael. And he's my friend, your friend. A stranger in his 30s is your friend. Raphael intervened. Mrs. Harper, I'm 30 years old, and yes, Emily and I are friends. But you misunderstood. I'm calling the police. Margaret took out her phone. No, Mom. Please. Emily grabbed Margaret's arm. Please listen to me. Raphael isn't a bad person. He just what, Emily? Someone you met online? Whose age you hid? Who you kept secret from me and your father? Margaret was crying now. I didn't hide my age. Raphael has known everything from the beginning. And he's been honest with me, too. There's nothing romantic between us. Then why are you meeting so secretly? Why didn't you tell me? Because you wouldn't understand. Emily was crying too now. Because you always think everyone is bad. Because Raphael is helping me. What kind of help? Raphael spoke. Mrs. Harper, I'm a social services specialist. I work with youth. When Emily contacted me, she was showing signs of depression and anxiety. I just tried to support her. Social services specialist? Margaret looked suspiciously. Then why not through an official institution? Why secretly? Because I'm not a professional counselor. I'm a volunteer. I'm an administrator in an online support group. When young people reach out to us, we listen to them. Emily had been in contact with the group for months. But after a while, she wanted to talk one-on-one. Margaret's head was confused. Did this make sense? Or was this just an excuse? Raphael continued. The reason for our meeting today was to understand if Emily was ready to talk to you. I suggested she get therapy. I told her she needed professional help. But first, she needed to tell you the truth. Emily spoke through sobs. Mom, I'm not sick. But I'm depressed. Since Grandma and Grandpa died, there's a huge emptiness inside me. You were lost, too. You went to work every day and came home tired. I couldn't talk to you. I couldn't talk to anyone. Then I found this support group online. Raphael and others listened to me. They understood me. Margaret hugged her daughter. Sweetheart, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want to upset you. You were already going through so much. I tried to be strong too, but I couldn't. The two women hugged there in the middle of the cafe in tears. Raphael waited quietly. After a while, Margaret turned to Raphael. If you really are who you say you are, why didn't you contact me? Emily is a minor. Because Emily wasn't ready. I told her she needed to talk to you. But she was afraid. She thought you would be angry. I'm not angry. I'm worried. Margaret looked at Raphael. Please give me your identification information. And I want details about this support group. I'll investigate everything. Of course. Raphael took a business card from his wallet. Here's my contact information, and here's the website of the organization I work for. You can call and verify anytime. Margaret looked at the business card. Rafael Mendoza, Youth Life Support Center, Volunteer Coordinator. Emily was still crying. Mom, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I couldn't take it anymore. Shh, sweetheart. We'll talk now. We'll talk about everything, and we'll help you. You'll get therapy, and I'll be a better mother. On the way home, Emily told the whole story, how she started feeling bad after her grandmother's death, how her grandfather's death affected her even worse, Margaret burying herself in work and Emily feeling alone, finding the support group she was looking for online, meeting Raphael, how he just listened, didn't judge, understood. But Mom, Raphael never said anything bad to me. He never behaved inappropriately. He just listened to me and suggested I get professional help. Margaret was ashamed inside. She had judged her daughter, thought the worst, assumed Raphael had bad intentions. But maybe Raphael really was a well-meaning person trying to help her daughter. When they arrived home, James was home too. Margaret and Emily told him everything. James was angry at first, but then hugged Emily. "My daughter, why didn't you tell us? We're your family. We love you. I know, Dad. But I didn't want to upset you." That night, the family did something they hadn't done in years. They sat and talked for hours. Emily explained her feelings. Margaret and James listened to her. They promised to make an appointment with a therapist the next day, and from now on, they would have family dinner every week, without technology, just with each other. When Margaret got into bed, she was relieved. Everything would be okay. Emily would get help. The family would come together again, but something was bothering Margaret. Was Raphael really who he said he was? Margaret would call that organization the next day and verify everything. Sunday morning, Margaret woke up early. Yesterday's events were still spinning in her mind. Emily's confessions, the encounter with Raphael, the family coming together again. Everything had happened so fast. But that small voice inside Margaret was still whispering. Something was missing. Something didn't quite fit. While drinking her coffee, she looked at the business card Raphael had given. Youth Life Support Center. She should check the website. She picked up her phone and searched online. The site came up. It was a professional-looking website. Mission, vision, team members, everything was in place. She found Rafael Mendoza's profile, his photo, biography, references. Margaret relaxed as she read. Rafael really worked at this organization. He had a master's degree in social services. He had been working with youth for 5 years. Everything was true. Margaret took a deep breath. So she had been wrong. Raphael really had good intentions. He was trying to help Emily. Margaret felt guilty. She had accused the man unfairly. That day the family had a quiet Sunday. Emily seemed more relaxed. Margaret and James tried to spend more time with Emily. They watched movies, played games, cooked together. They hadn't spent quality time like this in a long time. When evening came, Emily hugged her mother. "Mom, thank you for yesterday, for listening to me, for trying to understand. I thank you, sweetheart, for opening up to me. Everything will be better from now on." Monday morning, Margaret went to the office, but her mind was still on Emily. At noon, Guadalupe called. "Mrs. Harper, I'm sorry to bother you, but I noticed something strange when I came to clean the house today." "What happened, Guadalupe?" "While cleaning Emily's room, I found a box under her bed. There were letters inside, Spanish letters. I didn't read them all, of course, but I think they're from Raphael." "Letters?" Margaret's heart started beating fast again. "What do the letters say?" "I read a few sentences. He writes very romantic things. Mi amor, eres mi vida, te necesito. These are love letters, Mrs. Harper. And there are some disturbing things too." "What kind of things?" "For example, in one he says, 'Soon we'll be together. We won't let your family separate us.' In another, 'I dream of running away with you.'" Margaret's world collapsed. What does he mean, "I dream of running away"? What does "family won't separate us" mean? What Raphael told Emily didn't match these letters at all. "Guadalupe, keep those letters. I'm coming home right away." Margaret left the office and called David. "David, there's a problem. Suspicious letters belonging to Emily have been found. I think this Raphael guy lied." Margaret calmed down. "Maybe there's a misunderstanding." "No, David. I have a bad feeling inside. I'm going home. I'll call you later." While driving, Margaret also called Daniel. "Daniel, can you do an in-depth investigation about Raphael Mendoza? I need to know everything. Where he lives, what his past is. Is he really who he says he is?" "Margaret, didn't everything get resolved yesterday? Didn't you talk to Emily?" "We talked, but new information has emerged." "Please, Daniel, help me." "Okay, give me a few hours. I'll call you." When she arrived home, Guadalupe was waiting at the door. She had a small box in her hand. "The letters are here, Mrs. Harper." Margaret took the box and went to the living room. When she opened the box, there were at least 15 or 20 letters inside, all handwritten letters in Spanish. She opened the first letter. As Guadalupe said, it was full of romantic expressions. But it wasn't just romantic. There was manipulative and controlling language. Emily, you are my everything. I can't live without you. I understand your family. They won't accept me. But this can't stop our love. We'll find a way soon. We'll be together. You just have to trust me. Another letter had more serious things written. Did your mother ask where you were today? What did you tell her? Be careful, Emily. If they notice us, they'll try to separate you from me. But I'll never leave you. You're mine. Margaret was nauseous. These weren't letters written by a support specialist. These were letters written by a manipulator, an abuser. In the last letter there was a plan. Emily, very soon. In the new year, you'll understand that we can't change your family. Then you'll come with me. There's a beautiful life waiting for you in Mexico. No one can separate us there. Just you and me. Forever. Margaret was trembling. Kidnapping plan. Raphael was planning to take Emily to Mexico. And did Emily know about this? Or was Raphael doing this secretly from Emily? Guadalupe came over. Mrs. Harper, what will you do? I'll call the police and talk to Emily right now. Margaret called Emily's school. She spoke with the assistant principal and said she needed to take Emily out of class. There was an urgent family situation. Half an hour later, Emily came home. There was concern on her face. Mom, what happened? Did something happen? Emily, sit down. We need to talk. Margaret put the box in front of Emily. What are these, Emily? When Emily saw the box, she turned pale. Mom, you went through my things. Guadalupe found them while cleaning. Emily, did you read these letters? Yes, I read them. Raphael wrote them to me. What's the problem? The problem is that what's written in these letters doesn't match what Raphael told us. He's talking about romantic relationship here. He's talking about escape plans. He's talking about plans to go to Mexico. Emily's eyes filled. Mom, you're misunderstanding. Raphael, he just speaks poetically. Mexico is his homeland. He's telling me about it. No, Emily. It's clearly written here. He's talking about separating you from your family, running away with you. This isn't normal. This is dangerous. No, Emily was shouting now. You don't know Raphael. He's a good person. He helped me. You just see everything as bad. Emily, I'm trying to protect you. This man is manipulating you. You're 16 years old. He's 30. This is wrong. This is a crime. A crime? We're just talking. He's my friend. Friends don't write letters like this, Emily. Friends don't plan to separate you from your family. This man is dangerous. Emily was crying. You don't understand me. Nobody understands me. Only Raphael understands me. And you're trying to take him away from me. Emily ran to her room. Margaret wanted to follow, but Guadalupe stopped her. Mrs. Harper, give her some time. She's very emotional now. Call the police. Let them evaluate the situation. Margaret called the police. She explained the situation. The officer asked her to bring the letters and give a statement. Margaret took the letters and went to the police station. At the station, she met with Detective Sarah Williams. Margaret told the whole story. Emily's changing behavior, meeting Raphael, the confrontation at the cafe, and now the letters that were found. Detective Williams examined the letters. Mrs. Harper, this is a serious situation. There's clearly an inappropriate relationship between an adult and a minor child here. We'll start an investigation about Rafael Mendoza. We'll also need to talk to your daughter. But she's protecting Rafael. She believes him. This is normal. Manipulation victims usually protect the manipulator. But don't worry, we're experienced in this. We'll help Emily. Just then Margaret's phone rang. It was Daniel. Margaret, I did research on Rafael Mendoza. I have bad news. Tell me, Daniel. Rafael Mendoza has two different identities. The first is what you know, the support center employee. The second is, Margaret, the man has been arrested before for similar crimes. 3 years ago, in another state, he tried to run away with a 17-year-old girl. The charges were dropped because the girl didn't testify. But there's a file. What? Margaret's voice was trembling. There's worse. The man isn't using his real name. His real name is Roberto Salazar. Rafael Mendoza is a fake identity. His job at the support center is also a lie. The website looks real, but it's actually a fake site. Professionally made, but not real. Margaret couldn't breathe, so Rafael had been lying from the beginning. Everything was planned. Approaching Emily, the support specialist role, the letters, the kidnapping plan, everything. Detective Williams took the information and immediately took action. They would issue an arrest warrant for Rafael Mendoza or Roberto Salazar, but first they needed to find the man. Mrs. Harper, keep your daughter at home. Don't let her go to school. Rafael might try to contact her. If you see any suspicious movement, call us immediately. While Margaret was returning home, her head was confused. How would she tell Emily? Would her daughter believe her? Or would she see Margaret as a liar? When she arrived home, Emily was in her room. Margaret knocked on the door, but Emily didn't open it. Mom, go away, please. I don't want to talk to you. Emily, it's very important. Please open the door. I learned some things about Rafael. What did you learn? Are you going to slander him again? It's not slander, Emily. Facts. Rafael's real name is Roberto Salazar, and he tried to kidnap another young girl before. Silence. Then the door slowly opened. Emily's face was white. What are you saying? Margaret hugged Emily. Sweetheart, Rafael deceived you. He's not a good person. He manipulated you. But you're safe now. The police are looking for him. Emily collapsed. No, it can't be. He was helping me. He understood me. How? I know, sweetheart. He's a very good manipulator. He found your weak moment and used it. But this isn't your fault. Nothing is your fault. Emily cried for hours. Margaret didn't leave her. Finally, Emily fell asleep. Margaret waited there, beside her daughter. The next day, the police found Rafael, or Roberto. When the man was caught, they found more evidence at his home. Emily's photos of other young girls, fake IDs, fake passports. Everything came out. Roberto was a professional criminal who targeted minors. He had been doing this for years. In different states, with different identities, he would approach young girls through social media. He would find their weak moments, gain trust, manipulate, and eventually try to kidnap them. Emily had experienced psychological trauma, but hadn't been physically harmed. Margaret and James found the best therapist for Emily. Emily started receiving therapy 3 times a week. The first weeks were very difficult. Emily was blaming herself. How could I be so stupid? How could I believe him? She kept asking. Therapist Dr. Linda Chen told Emily, Emily, you're not stupid. You were just a hurt young person. You had lost your grandmother and grandfather. You couldn't communicate with your mother. You felt alone. Roberto saw these and used them. He's a professional manipulator. Hundreds of children have fallen into his trap. This isn't your fault. Slowly, Emily began to heal. Margaret and James also attended family therapy. Together, they learned to communicate, to listen to each other, to understand each other. Guadalupe became an important source of support in the family. She developed a close relationship with Emily. She was like a big sister, a friend to her. Emily started learning Spanish with Guadalupe, but this time in a healthy way. 6 months later, Roberto's trial was held. Emily testified in court. It was very difficult, but Margaret and James were by her side. Emily courageously told how Roberto approached, how he gained trust, how he manipulated. Roberto was sentenced to 10 years in prison. There were also charges in other states. He would probably spend the rest of his life in prison. After the trial ended, Emily was relieved. She no longer had nightmares. She now felt safe. A year later, the Harper family had completely changed. Margaret had stepped back from work a bit, spent more time with Emily. So had James. Emily's grades had improved. She had made new friends. She had returned to life. One evening, as the family sat at the dinner table, Emily spoke. Mom, Dad, I want to tell you something. What happened, sweetheart? After what I went through, I made a decision. In the future, I want to study psychology. I want to learn how people like Roberto work. And I want to help young people like me. I want to teach them how to recognize manipulation. Margaret's eyes filled. Sweetheart, that's a wonderful idea. I'm so proud of you. 2 years later, Emily graduated from high school with honors. She entered university in the psychology department. Margaret and James watched crying at their daughter's graduation ceremony. In her speech, Emily said, "Life sometimes gives us difficult lessons. I learned a very difficult lesson 2 years ago. But this lesson taught me something. Family is the most important thing. Communication is the most important thing. Trust is the most important thing. If you're having a problem, talk to your family. If you feel alone, ask for help. But never trust strangers. People you meet on the internet may not be who they appear to be. Please be careful. Please protect yourself." Applause rose from the hall. Margaret and James were looking at their daughter. Emily was now a strong, confident, conscious young woman. Guadalupe was there too. She had become like family with the Harper family now. She hugged Emily. "Estoy muy orgullosa de ti. Emily, I'm very proud of you. If it weren't for you, I might not be here today." That night, as Margaret lay in her bed, she thought about the last 2 years. What a nightmare they had lived through, but how they had come out stronger. She had saved Emily's life. But actually, Emily had saved their lives too, because this incident had brought the family together. It had taught them to communicate. It had reminded them to value each other. Margaret was grateful for following that small voice inside her. If she hadn't followed Emily, if she hadn't investigated, if she had given up, who knows what would have happened. Now I want to ask you, do you think Margaret did the right thing? Was it right for her to violate her daughter's privacy, follow her, check her phone? Or was this too much? And as parents, how can we protect our children? How can we ensure their safety while respecting their privacy? What happened to Emily could happen to any young person. Social media is both a wonderful and dangerous place. Please talk to your children. Tell them about the dangers on the internet. But most importantly, communicate with them. Because communication is the strongest method of protection. If this story taught you something, please share in the comments. Maybe your story will help others. Maybe your experience will save another family. And remember, if you have a feeling inside you, listen to that feeling. A mother's or father's instincts never lie. Do you think social media platforms are taking enough precautions to protect children, or are parents struggling alone? Share your thoughts in the comments. Create awareness by sharing this story with your family and friends. Maybe you'll save a life.